ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Ori All Skills Tournament, round of 16. We're kicking things off today with the match between the number 7 seed Lucidus versus the number 10 seed Terra21 in the Naru division. I am Fant, and joining me at the commentator's desk is none other than J-Hobbs. J-Hobbs, are you as excited about this match as I am?
I am unbelievably excited for this one. It's going to be crazy. These runners are within 30 seconds of each other's PBs, and both have controller experience and some keyboard and mouse experience. So it's going to be a really close match, one way or the other. Certainly one that I could not for the life of me call.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult to predict who's going to win this match. Lucidus has the advantage on the PB. However, as we see on the stats page here, Terra has a more impressive average tournament race. So maybe he's better on the nerves, doesn't break down as much on some of the bigger tricks. So it's going to be really interesting to see, how those nerves come into play here.
Definitely. Whenever you have a race this close, you have to be wondering about that kind of thing. I know Lucy has traditionally said that she gets a little nervous before every race. But as soon as she gets into her groove, she knows that she can take any match that's thrown up against her. Even having beaten Hetfield once in the GDQ hotfix race. So it's certainly something that the nerves aren't necessarily always a factor for her. Terra, on the other hand, has always seemed pretty calm coming into a lot of his matches and just tried to perform as consistently as possible. And as you mentioned, that average time really shows how that has worked for him.
Yeah, and as we see here, Lucidus is a pure controller runner. She'll be running on the DualShock 4, whereas Terra is a hybrid runner. At several points throughout the run, he's going to be switching between controller and keyboard, where he finds it more comfortable.
Yeah, and we'll keep you guys up to date as that's happening too, because we know exactly when these guys are going to be switching. Again, taking a look at the stats, you can tell that Terra has a bit more consistency in a lot of these tricks, whereas Lucy maybe not as much. But Lucy went 3-0 in her group stage matches. She won all 3 of them, Terra dropping only 1 to Trojan. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. We're going to be kicking off very quickly for you guys, and I'll be talking to the racers right now and getting them going momentarily. So while we're waiting for them to get started, Fant, can you tell me a little bit more about, some of the things we've heard from these runners leading up to this match?
Yeah, certainly. So I heard from Terra prior to this match that he's going to start implementing the 5 energy route. This is something we haven't seen from him throughout the races so far. So it's the first time he's doing it in a tournament race. So hot off the press, we'll see how he makes use of that new energy, whether he goes for more safety saves or more of the quicker strats, throwing in more stomp cancels and charge dashes, rocket jumps, and Misty. It's going to be exciting to see.
Yep, and here we go. We're off. We're going to get these streams synced up for you folks in just a second. As always, you can take a look at the timers at the top to see when that has happened. There we go. Got them all synced up now. Lucidus on your left, Terra on your right. If you ever at any moment lose track of who's in first, you can take a look at the skill wheels below the screens in order to see who has more skills, because remember, that is the whole goal of this match here, is to pick up all the skills and beat the game.
Yeah, Lucidus with a little tiny bit of an early lead that could have been just to a better cutscene skip at the beginning of the game, but nothing major at all.
Yeah, both runners starting on controller here, so their cutscene skip, nobody had an inherent advantage from using a mouse or anything like that necessarily. Terra will be running the entire early game with the controller, and he'll be picking up to a mouse and keyboard setup later on in Ginso.
Yes, that is correct. Now both runners picking up Sign, which is going to allow them to attack. There's 2 methods of attacking in this game. You can either mash and get 2 shot cycles, or shot pace. It looks like Terra is going for shot pacing, while Lucy is going for mashing.
Yeah, and I've actually noticed before that both runners tend to opt for pacing versus mashing in different spots. So it's kind of interesting to see the little facets from each runner coming out there where they decide to use them. They've also put a lot of work into their early games as well. Terra especially is someone who is known for having some of those monster early games. And as I say that, of course, both of them had a little bit of hiccup with that first jump pad there, but pretty even hiccup, and Terra with just the slight advantage now.
Yeah, Terra opting to keep his UI open for us. He's at 2 health. He's going to look to damage boost down to 1 health for an upcoming Ghost Door.
Yeah, Ghost Door being, of course, a trick where we can actually skip the opening animation of a door. You can take a look at the right side of your screen. Terra's going to be picking up the second keystone needed to open this door, throw him both keystones into the door, and immediately die after making a save, which makes the door not appear until it's kind of finishing its animation. Both runners had no problem with it, and it looks like both are indeed going to be picking up a 4th health.
Yeah, Lucy has recently been going for 3 health in PB attempts. 3 health is very, very risky, especially later in the game at Misty. So it's completely understandable to see her taking a more conservative approach and going for 4 health here.
Yeah, not at all surprising from either of the runners here. And both are very experienced, but it's still very easy to die anywhere in this run, especially in this early game, where having that 1 extra bit of health might save you once or twice if you take a lot of damage on the way to and from a skill. Both runners making their way to the first real skill of the game now, which is wall jump, and will be keeping a tight note on their experience, as you saw Terra having to turn back a little bit and get some more. And both runners will either level up on the way down or on the way out of this elbow, and Terra levels up on the way down in this specific case.
Yeah, Lucy will be getting that extra XP from the flower after wall jump to level up on the way out.
Yeah, both experience routes work perfectly fine here. We might see Terra save an extra half a second, or sorry, Lucy save an extra half a second later, because she'll be probably at a higher experience level overall on her way out of here. Both are going to be picking up an energy cell now. No real surprises here. This is pretty much required for the run, because energy is not only the way that you make saves in this run, but it's also how we use some very, very tantalizing and fast abilities later in the game.
Yeah, that energy specifically being used for a really big skip coming up after the next skill in the game.
Yeah, meanwhile, both making their way out. Lucy having a bit of trouble with the Trojan log here and giving Terra the lead, but just a slight edge, and anything can happen in this run, especially later. Wouldn't expect any kind of small advantages in this early game to really determine who's going to take the race come Misty or even later.
Yeah, so 1 second apart coming out of wall jump. Both these runners have very, very good early games. Their movement at this skill level is very clean, and we're not seeing any major spaghetti from them yet.
Yeah, they're going to be making their way now to Black Root Burrows, where they'll be picking up the second skill, Dash. And on the way, they'll be first trying to skip a cutscene here. Don't expect to see any problems from the runners here, but the main thing is that they'll be using this Spirit Well here, which is also a save point, to open the menu and gain control of Ori in the back of the menu. And as you can see, he's moving around there just behind it and leveling up an ability to force the game to save after entering a cutscene trigger allows both these runners to skip it. And it looks like a beautiful job from both, means that we're going to still see that 1 second advantage for Terra.
Yeah, Terra at 42 XP there, just barely coming in at the XP bracket that he needs for a time level up later.
That would, of course, give him the perfect amount of experience to be able to go for a very difficult trick called Fast Frankie Walk. What do you think, Fant? We're going to be seeing any Fast Frankie Walk from Terra this run?
I don't expect it, but I will be incredibly happy if we see it.
Certainly anything could happen. Terra does love to give the people a show, but I don't think we'll be seeing it either. I'd have to agree with you there. Meanwhile, both runners making their safety saves there, as it's very easy to die during these spitter cycles here. It looks like both are through pretty quickly and cleanly.
Yeah, Lucy took a hit there, but she had enough HP. She should be perfectly fine. The hard part at the bottom of BRB is over.
Yeah, movement was very good from both runners, so they'll be picking up this cycle as early as possible. And they're going to wait out on the edge of the ledge here. As you see on the right side on Terra's screen, he's going to be jumping here and pausing for a moment to actually manipulate a cycle in the next room. And Lucy, of course, does the same. We'll have to see if somebody went for a more aggressive cycle than the other.
Yeah, it looked like Terra left a little bit early. We'll see what happens in the next room here.
Yeah, that room is actually not loaded while you're on the end of that platform there, which is why you see that from the runners. And here we go on the right side. Terra coming up to it first, and it looks like he had a very aggressive cycle and makes it. So he's gaining a little bit more time on Lucy there. Very risky though. He could easily miss that one.
Yeah, barring no mistakes at the top here, both of these runners had a very clean BRB so far.
Absolutely.
This is a place where even the top runners are not immune to having major deaths here.
Always exciting when we don't see one of those jumps or deaths rather before wall jump or before dash. So looking to be a very good race already, and both are going to be sitting at a nice and low 7-ish minute time for this dash split. Now we get to go see the run move very quickly, and we're kind of done with all these little auto scrolly sections, and we'll be taking a look at Terra on the right first. I know Lucy does a lot of minor optimizations with her dashes in like immediately after this area on the way to Frankie Walk, and I believe Terra does a lot of the same, so we'll have to see if one of them performs a little bit better or decides to take it a bit safer with some of the dashes.
Yeah, coming up on dash, Terra is within 2 seconds of his PB.
Yeah, Lucy a bit further behind because her PB did indeed get 3 health, as Fant mentioned earlier, but certainly not out of the woods for her either. And yeah, now we can already see Lucy gaining a little bit of advantage from some of those extra dashes and is taking the lead over Terra here.
Still very, very close. I'm excited that nothing major has happened to these two runners. Now we're moving on to Frankie Walk. This is where we needed that XP to be in the right bracket. This is why we needed that energy.
Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off, but Lucy having a bit of trouble here is going to have to return to this Frankie and get him unstuck from underneath that log. That gives Terra a nice little 5-second or so advantage right now. And now Lucy's having trouble getting the frog to jump all the way over the spikes.
And the death.
Unfortunately, and now has fallen into more spikes. Little bit shaken up there, I think, after that frog not work out how she wanted it to. Meanwhile, Terra's flying his way through the death gauntlet on the right side of the screen.
Yeah, she's checking her HP there. She has 2 HP. I think she didn't realize how low she was, or maybe she took the damage before, and
it looked like she was trying.
Back. I didn't see.
Yeah, it looked like she was trying not to take damage, but the Frankie was just not willing to cooperate and jump over the spikes, and unfortunately, she just got a bit too close to him there. Her second attempt is coming up now. While on the right side, let's look at Terra go for this early grotto cycle. If he can manage to squeeze through here, he is not able to. So that does give Lucy an 8-second window to potentially catch up some time later. And it looks like her second Frankie Walk went just fine.
She also got an energy there, opting to take that safety save. The energy drop there, I believe, is 10% chance. So it's good to notice it because...
And Lucy went for Death Glide and actually managed to get it. So that's insane. Very difficult trick to pull off there. So she's really pulling out all the stops now that she took that death. She must be pretty sure that she's behind Terra at this point.
Yeah, she knows the caliber of runner that Terra is, and after that unfortunate death at the end of Frankie Walk, she knows she's behind, and she's got to pull out all the stops. And she gets 8 seconds there by making the fast grotto cycle.
Yeah, and that's already starting to catch her up. She's probably caught up about 9 seconds or so from these, smaller optimizations, and that's really what she needs to keep doing and really bring herself back into it, because you can't ever be certain that somebody like Terra is going to make that big mistake that's going to let you back into the run. Meanwhile, Terra now has double jump. He's making his way up to grotto skip. He's had a pretty good record so far in the tournament, and he nails that one first try.
He made that look easy.
It's absolutely not near as easy as it looks, but he skipped about half of the grotto area. Meanwhile, Lucy in the blind movement is going to be coming up to grotto skip soon. And she hasn't exactly had the best track record with grotto skip.
Yeah, I'm pulling for her. Please show us a first try, Lucy. I believe you can do it.
Yeah, I don't think she's quite gotten it first try in the tournament yet. Her PB took 4 attempts at it, but we'll see if she can manage to recover here. It looks like she's really pulling out all the stops to try to catch up.
And while Terra picking up Water Vein, the key that he needs to enter the Ginso tree.
And there it is, first try, grotto skip from Lucy. So beautiful, playing it out of her mind to try to recover from that death earlier. You could see her holding a save very early too. That has to do with some of the binds that she's been using on her PlayStation 4 controller.
Yeah, so Lucy has 2 profiles that she uses to manage her keybinds. That since you're on controller, you have a lot less to work with. So she opts at the beginning of the game, up through Feather, to place an extra button for save on L2. This allows her to much more easily move while saving at the same time. And we just saw her use it there. We'll be seeing her use it more in Ginso, the key dupe room. It just makes a lot of these ghost door tricks a lot easier to do.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Meanwhile, Terra not really making any mistakes here. He's just having a very solid run. Again, we have highlighted Terra's early game before, and he's certainly one of the best early game runners out of the entire community. And he's really showing it off again, looking for a very low 12-minute time getting to this first dungeon. Meanwhile, on the left side, we see Lucy holding that save again, just making... You have a little bit of space for some extra safety saves on the way over to Ginso. She had a bit of trouble with that energy or that experience dropping, but it magneted to her just fine. So her experience will certainly be fine. It looks like both runners are not going to have any kind of problem with that when it comes to the top of Ginso.
Yeah, and Terra has a roughly 12:30 enter Ginso. He is still only 1 to 2 seconds behind PB. This is really good pace for him.
Absolutely. He's now going to be making it up to the second room, and we'll see how he does on these cycles on all these floating platforms here. Looks like he's not going for anything too adventurous, but certainly still making the kind of quote-unquote normal fast cycle at this point, and continuing onwards very quickly. There are some earlier cycles that we could potentially see Lucy go for here, but they're very risky. I wouldn't necessarily expect it.
Yeah, Lucy with the 13:06 enter Ginso time. At one point in this race, she was almost a minute behind after that death, the Frankie walk, but now the gap is only 37 seconds. So she is really pulling out all the stops to try and catch up here.
Yeah, unbelievable, the kind of caliber of runners we have at this stage in the tournament. She had a little bit of a misstep there and managed to luckily save it. Just had a little bit of issue with one of her wall jumps. So she got a little bit slower cycle in that second Ginso room. But Terra's already onto the mini-boss and is using those mashing shots that you were talking about earlier, Fan.
Yeah, this is where Terra first switches over to keyboard and mouse. He does it specifically for this mini-boss. He uses the mouse wheel to time those shots, and that allows him to more easily get a 5 or 6 cycle on the mini-boss. And then after this room, he goes back to controller until bash, where he'll switch again to keyboard and mouse.
Absolutely crazy. I think Terra is one of the only runners who switches between 2 different input devices as much as he does. Meanwhile, Lucy is not too far behind. She's on the mini-boss herself, going to be also mashing out those shots on controller. Probably not quite able to get the same number of cycles here on this boss, but she is still having a pretty good job of, or doing a pretty good job rather, of keeping track of where this boss is going to be spawning.
Yeah, that was a 6th cycle by Lucy. Not bad at all.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Terra has picked up Bash, so he is now on to the keyboard and mouse configuration. You can see that mouse floating around on the screen there. And this is something that he has been doing all tournament. He picked it up just a little bit before the tournament and has found it to be very comfortable for him to be able to get some of the advantages of early game movement from controller, but a lot of the bash related advantages of the keyboard and mouse input device.
Yeah, most recently right there, throwing in a double dash or a double bash to get that early shot cycle. That's something that's very difficult to do on controller, but significantly easier on keyboard and mouse.
And on the right side, he'll be coming up for this key duplication glitch here now. He had a little bit of trouble falling into the right spot, but luckily duplicated the keys just fine. It's very easy to die there accidentally, and it would have been a nice opportunity for Lucy to catch up, but Terra not letting her come back into this one yet. He wants to make sure that he can carry on into this tournament as far as possible.
Yeah, as Lucy gets into the key dupe room, I want to point out the usefulness of that bind she has on save. I've seen in the past, she will hold the save for most of the key dupe room, and then right when she gets up to the top, it instantly lands. We'll see it on her second round.
It looks like she had a very quick death for that that key duplication glitch and still managed to actually make it work. So she saved a little bit of time there on Terra. Terra also missed some experience from the second mini boss. So on the right side, will be taking a look and making sure that he can still level up here off of this frog. And it looks like he just barely had enough experience to do so.
A quick minor death for Lucy there. She was going for the hyperspeed, but fortunately landed into the spikes. By no means a big time loss.
Yeah, and those are the kinds of deaths that if you're going to not have a deathless run, you want to have, because they certainly will not judge the outcome of the race. Lucy now coming up to the core explosion herself. We've been routing the experience this entire time, so that way she can get this level up just as Terra did, and will explode. Will get the level up explosion rather to blow up both sides of the corruption. She was very close to not getting that one, but managed to make it work out with a nice dash glide.
Yeah, she's been practicing that dash glide a lot. It's always a pleasure to watch. I want to steal it for my runs just because of how cool it looks.
Looks like we're still looking at a 30-second difference between our two runners here, so 1 second caught up by Lucy means that they had almost the same kind of Ginso.
Yeah, and that's even with that death for Lucy that only cost a couple of seconds. So she's just showing, how clean her movement is.
Yeah, and
throwing
I know
in a couple of ninja jumps in here to escape.
And I know you've talked with both of these runners recently. What would you say the runners have really been practicing the most recently?
Yeah, so Lucy has been practicing like crazy the late game. The last 3 days. Oh gosh. I thought Lucy was a goner there for a second. But yeah, she's been practicing feather through the end. I really hope that she pulls out all the stops there and we see a comeback from her.
Yeah, and Terra has been more practicing consistency and trying not to take any of those large deaths, and it's clearly worked out for him so far. No kinds of issues with that here, but maybe not necessarily practicing as many of the smaller optimizations. So we're rapidly coming on to the point where Lucy could potentially garner a large advantage over him.
And the big question mark, as always, coming up very soon, the Kuro cutscene skip. Potential 17-second time loss if you miss it. Both these runners have been good at getting it into the past, but anything can happen in a race.
And both have missed it before. Terra's missed Kuro cutscene skip once so far in this tournament. Lucy has missed it 2 times out of the 4 that she's attempted it, so it's certainly one to keep an eye on. Before that, though, I want to take direct your eye to the left side of the screen. Lucy does a little bit of kind of fancy movement coming out here that not a lot of the same runners do. She'll be getting on top of this log here and doing a dash. And that's kind of her style here of coming up with a lot of improv strats that she ends up deciding to continue to use if she believes them to be faster. I mean, she's certainly someone who likes to be creative in her routing and not necessarily follow the mold. And
well, on the right side of your screen, he is through. He skips the Kuro cutscene. He will not be making an appearance for Terra anytime soon. And now, hopefully, Lucy can do the same.
And it looks like Terra is also not opting for the 5th energy. I thought he was going to go for it there for a moment, but then grabbed the wall and maybe just made an on-the-fly decision not to get it. But looks like he will be sticking with 4 energy here, which is not something we were expecting in this tournament match.
Yeah, he stated that he's been practicing it recently and originally planned on doing it for this race. So maybe he was either feeling confident. Terra is watching the stream, so he does know that he has a pretty decent lead right now and opting not to go for that 5th energy.
Yeah, Lucy nailed the cutscene skip as well, so it'll probably looks like nothing even happened at all. But we know, us runners know out there, that both of them managed to skip that cutscene. And yeah, as you mentioned, Terra's watching the stream, but Lucy isn't. Lucy's kind of keeping up with the chat and will have a general idea of how the race is going, but she doesn't have any kind of specific references to know how far ahead or behind Terra she is. So you got to wonder now if she realizes it's as close as it is after such a large death early on.
Yeah, Terra, as of Charged Flame, is only 12 seconds behind his PB. And Terra has a really good PB, so that is really impressive to see from him in a race environment.
Yeah, unbelievable run to be that close for either of these runners. Being anywhere near PB pace is not something we would expect in a race setting.
Meanwhile, Terra is coming up on a trick called Fast Stompless. This is really significant if you miss it, and it saves, I believe, 15 seconds if you make it. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, it's certainly one that could potentially even the playing field here. He's going to be taking this spider shot here and bashing in a very specific direction. Looked like that might have been a bit too high, but hopefully not. He's going to race away from that spider shot to deload the area that it's traveling through and race to the ability cell. And he missed Fast Stompless there. He would have been cutscene warped to a different location. So he'll now have to go and stomp these rocks sitting above Kuro's head. Meanwhile, Lucy on the left side of the screen is going to be taking her attempt at Fast Stompless very shortly. And this is something that's generally seen as a bit easier on keyboard and mouse and a bit more difficult on controller. So this would be kind of a crazy turn of events if Lucy ends up being the one to pick it up here.
Take your time on the shot. It looks good. This could be an opportunity to catch up.
She had a little bit of slow movement getting out there, but I think she's fine.
Did she get it?
I don't know. That was unbelievably close. We don't have audio on the commentator stream, so it's going to be a bit close. We might have to hear from somebody else, hear from our experts in the truck, or wait and see. But Lucy is either down an ability cell, which would be a drastic time loss, or managed to pick that up at the last second and has caught up a significant chunk of time on the lead.
Only Lucy knows right now. We'll see after this if she has or not.
And she does. Like she managed to pick up that ability cell. That is absolutely incredible. We now have probably a 15-second or less deficit between these runners as Terra is making his way into Sorrow Pass using a series of very specific manipulations of these birds. Looks like he made it through just fine. Lucy has a bit different setup, and it looks like she should be okay and manages to make it in first try as well. Terra going for an optional energy here in order to make a safety save, I believe. And there it is. Looks like Lucy will not be going for that. So that's another 8 seconds. These runners are virtually tied. This is absolutely insane right now. After the death that we saw earlier, Terra's not had a death at all, I believe. Oh, but Lucy, unfortunately, trying to put a frog in the correct position to do the same juggle that Terra's doing, she just knocked him off and then ended up taking a death without making a save and is now all the way back into Sorrow Pass.
Yeah, that is a significant time loss for her. Yeah, she's going to have to go through the Sorrow Bash again and all that tech we've just seen. So this gives a pretty comfortable lead for Terra now.
Yeah, this is something that is really going to require a mistake from Terra at this point to become a surmountable lead. And Lucy makes it through into Sorrow Pass again. Hopefully she can not have any issues. We had a little bit of a lag on the commentator stream, so I couldn't see exactly what happened with that death from Lucy. But
that was an intentional death on Lucy's part. She despawned the frog, and rather than trying to go up, use the alternate strats, she decided to kill herself and start again.
Very interesting not to make a safety save there. Got to wonder if that's a judgment call or something that she's just not familiar with making that kind of mistake. But meanwhile, Terra's going to be capitalizing on it. He's actually back to using controller for a short period here. He does prefer it after grabbing the Sunstone. He, on just that short distance on the way to charge jump, prefers using the controller. And he'll be back to KBM. Lucy is still playing out of her mind trying to catch up in this race. So a quick death or two from Terra in Misty, and this could be back to tied.
Yeah, Terra prefers the controller for this setup specifically, or this segment, specifically for feather usage through the spikes in both Sorrow and Misty. Finds it more comfortable, easier to control with the controller versus mouse and keyboard.
And he's making his way out now. He is not grabbing the ability cell on the way out of Sorrow Pass, so he'll be picking up an extra one, or an extra chunk of experience here, and will be looking to level up at the end of a mini boss in Misty. A little bit of time for Lucy to gain on him early on, but it will give Terra the ability to make a lot more safety saves in Misty Woods.
Yeah, and he took a hit there. Any hit to spikes in Misty will do 3 damage, so he opts to take a safety save there, refill his health. He'll probably feel a lot more comfortable now.
Yeah, and he's looking very smooth throughout this entire Misty so far. And of course, the exit from Misty is one that we are kind of more expecting a death in, certainly the more worrisome portion of it. And we'll have to keep an eye out on that for sure. Lucy's going to be picking up the ability cell on the left, out on her way out of Sorrow Pass. And actually, yeah, now that I think about it, I kind of highlighted that as an advantage for Lucy, but she had to pick up the cell, so probably pretty tied from both those runners there. Meanwhile, Terra dashing and falling through all these spikes and making it beautifully, no problems from him.
Yeah,
Now picking up Climb, the most useless skill, I'd say, or well, the second most useless.
What are you talking about? Light Grenade is way more useful than Climb is.
Of course. But Lucy's now still rapidly trying to make her way over to Climb to try to catch up.
Yeah, no major mistakes from Lucy yet in Misty. She's been throwing in a lot of nice stomp cancels. Hopefully we'll see more of them on the exit. And meanwhile, Terra is just crushing the end of Misty here, throwing in a ton of stomp cancels. Really great to see.
Yeah, and this is one of the kind of biggest sections that you could lose a lot of time in the run at all. And so if we see a death from Terra, this could be Lucy's chance to catch up. I don't believe he's made a safety save yet, unless he made one before that earlier keystone and I missed it. So it's going to send him all the way back to Climb if he takes the death. He took a little bit of damage from that mortar worm there. Ooh, and having to bash a shot from him as well. So Terra is just adapting unbelievably well right now.
Meanwhile, Lucy has done a surprisingly good job closing the gap. Despite those two big deaths, she is now only 36 seconds behind Terra as of Climb.
That's unbelievable. Just kind of goes to show the amount of practice she's put into this late game. Terra is now taking on the mini-boss and does get the level up that he was expecting. He had a nice one cycle from that mini-boss, a little bit slower than what we'll probably see Lucy go for. And but he still managed to do just fine in that. Again, it's unbelievable that it's this close when Terra has not had a death yet. Not any kind of major one that I've seen anyways. And Lucy is just managing with all of that practice in the late game to catch up as well as she can and gets an even faster mini-boss quick kill.
Yeah, very beautiful boom, boom, boom from Lucy there.
Meanwhile, Terra on the right side, he actually missed the series of dashes over this wide gap in Valley and is having a bit of trouble with the charge jump getting back out. So this is more time for Lucy to catch up. This is anybody's race going into Light Grenade right now. I mean, it's unbelievable it's this close. Are we going to end up having this race come down to Door Warp of all things?
And I don't think we've seen a race come down this close to being decided at Door Warp since the match with Meldon, and I can't remember who it was. But it'll be really exciting if both of them get there at the same time. I have my fingers crossed. Lucy, you can do it.
We're sitting at a 16-second deficit now for Lucy. So she is caught up over half of that lead that Terra had built. And I'm sorry that I keep saying it, but it is anybody's game at this point, and it is making me unbelievably excited. Terra is going to be skipping a cutscene here. Luckily, no problems from him there.
Yeah, so he's through safely to Light Grenade.
If we take a look at the left side of the screen, Lucy does a little bit of a different strat here. This is kind of what I was talking about with some of those strats that she just prefers and kind of just breaks away from the mold with. Had a bit of trouble with the bird, but managed to force him away, and we'll be skipping the cutscene a little later than Terra, but still very quickly.
Yeah, we'll get an update on the time difference between these two at Light Grenade, but still, anything can happen with Door Warp and Horu Escape.
Absolutely. I'm bringing up the stats right now, and it looks like oh, no, I can't because Terra took a death and now is just only a couple seconds ahead of Lucy.
I am losing my mind here. I could not believe this.
This is
Terra's movement
ridiculous.
is really clean at the end.
And Lucy getting a little bit less lucky with her laser cycles. Terra having to wait on a second one here. Lucy managed to skip a cycle and will be actually catching up more time here. We're probably seeing a 2-second difference. Lucy taking a slight problem with the charge jump, but Terra repeats one as well. And it looks like he takes a few to get up to this slime. Oh my god, this is unbelievable. They're teleporting 1 second apart from each other.
It is going to be Door Warp, barring no major mistakes from them.
This is ridiculous. So Door Warp is a frame perfect trick that we'll be coming up on shortly. barring no major mistakes. Oh my God, they're tied. This is ridiculous. Lucy is having a bit more trouble with the rocket jump though. Terra taking a short advantage there, and it looks like some stomp cancels are keeping Lucy in this just fine. We'll be looking for a series of Terra jumps to come out on the right side of the screen in order to preserve
Both of them
momentum.
breaking the door frame for frame. And Lucy with nice stomp cancels going through. Terra caught up a little bit.
Got an unbelievable advantage there, and we'll be coming up to the horror door first. This is going to come down to door warp. Frame perfect trick here that we're going to be seeing from these runners, and the breakdown is that both have gotten it first try in the tournament, but Lucy has gotten it first try and she's gotten it 14th try. So this is something that we really have to be worried about here. It's going to be mashing up on the first frame the game loads, and unfortunately didn't get.
Terra gets it first try and makes it ahead. Meanwhile, Lucy gets its second try. This is still so close.
We're coming down to a final escape difference of the race here. Like this is crazy. Now, the big question that you got to be wondering at this point is who is going to be going for fish strats, because Lucy doesn't normally go for them. But I wonder if she knows how close this is looking at the chat.
So Lucy does not practice it. She does not go for fish strats. That being said, Terra does go for fist strats. He's gotten it every single time.
Oh, Lucy had a dash in the wrong direction.
He continues to go it again. Oh, and
Lucy
she
unfortunately took a
takes
death. Yeah, she had a little bit of trouble with some of the stomp cancels here. Terra's flying his way through, and Lucy takes another death, unfortunately, in this escape. Oh man, it's ridiculous that it's coming down to this. Terra, we're gonna see if he goes for fish strats here. We're gonna be decided on this second fish. He is going for it. Gets the double bash, takes the second double bash. If he takes the death on this fish strats, it could be Lucy's game. And it looks like he does not. Terra manages to secure the victory in an unbelievable turn of events. Wow.
Yeah, I wonder if Lucy knows how close that match was at door warp.
I mean, she told us she would be looking at the chat, and though she's not directly watching the stream, you got to be able to tell from the chat reaction how close that is. And to finish mere 30 seconds or less behind Terra in that kind of a race is insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Both of these are really solid times. I am super happy that this race ended in this fashion. Just another tie at door warp. Everything decided on door warp. I don't know what else to say.
I know. I'm sitting here speechless. This was an unbelievable race from both these runners, and I want to get a final update at the end here to really know how close it was. To see Lucy end up gaining that advantage, coming out of light grenade for just a second, and traveling back and forth between these two runners. And it comes down to that final escape. Just, I don't know if it's the jitters got to her or just what it was, but those two deaths from Lucy in the final escape unfortunately secured the victory for Terra. And unfortunately for her, of course, fortunately for Terra. And a 34:15 from Terra is an absolutely solid time.
Yeah, finishing only a minute and 10 seconds behind his PB. And with a PB as good as Terra's, that is a crazy good performance. Both these runners were so close that they were almost both holding right at the same time, only 18 seconds apart.
Wow. Unbelievable. This is the second closest race we've seen in this tournament so far. I'm still speechless, man. I can't believe this right now. I'm so glad that we got to do commentary for this and that the runners showed up with such a great race. I'm sure Lucy must be a little bit disappointed at this rate, but at this point rather, but she still performed unbelievably well to be able to start catching up time and time again.
Yeah, give a virtual round of applause for these runners. They definitely deserve it. I'm just so excited.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while we're watching this ending sequence, we are going to be doing a brief little interview here with our victor, Terra21. Terra, how are you feeling after that match, man? Because I know you were watching.
Yeah, give a virtual round of applause. They definitely deserve it. I'm just so excited.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while we're watching this ending sequence,
all over the place throughout the entire match.
All right, so walk me through. What the first thing I want to get to is in Grotto, right? So you've seen Lucy take the death at the Frankie Walk, and you know that she's probably lost close to a minute. And then to see coming out of Grotto that the lead is only about 30 or so seconds, was that something that you still saw as this is great. I've got a 30-second lead on someone who had a better seed than me. Or were you worried because of the amount that she had caught up in that short span of time?
It actually calmed my nerves a bit. I saw her die, and I just thought, okay, I actually just shouted, "Lucy, no!" But it calmed my nerves down there quite a lot, and I was so happy that she managed to bring it back because she's a really good early game runner, and she's like better than me, and she just like was on my heels that entire match.
Yeah, that was an exciting one for us to commentate. Did you have sound for that while watching the stream, or did you have that muted so you could be just focused in on your race?
I didn't have sound, no. I just had the stream muted. I was watching the chat, and chat was going crazy. It's pretty good.
So Terra, I
Um,
wanted to ask, before the race, you said you'd been practicing 5 energy. Now,
Yeah.
was that a last-minute decision, saying, "Oh, I'm not feeling comfortable on this. I'm going to go for 4 energy here"? Given that the final time was only 18 seconds apart, was that the right decision?
I did the bash to go for 5 energy, but I hit jump way too early and I clipped the wall.
I thought so.
So I just said, "Oh wait, guess we're doing this."
I thought so. It looked like you were gonna go for it, and just ended up hitting the wall. And yeah, that was a great adaptation, man, because that would have been very risky to go for after that point.
Oh yeah. I was just hoping I remembered my 4 energy route because I've been doing all my runs with 5 energy, and I just hope that I remembered it. But thankfully I did.
Whew. Oh man, unbelievable. Well, again, I got to point out I got to give you the props, and I got to point out the failures. What were you feeling at Light Grenade, man, after taking that death to the laser?
Oh, I was absolutely bricking it. I thought Lucy was going to be ahead. I don't know why I went for that stupid dash and through the laser. I wanted to do the 6 rocket jump after the second one, but it just killed me. I actually thought Lucy was going to be ahead after that, but thankfully I managed to clutch it out. Did Lucy get first try door warp as well?
She got second try. So you got
Second try,
first, she
okay.
got second. Unbelievable. Were you timing that, or were you mashing it there? Because I know sometimes in the heat of the moment, people like to mix up what they use.
I just used the mouse wheel just when it fades to black, and it just seems to work for me.
Well,
Yeah,
it obviously did again here, because he took a nice little advantage there and then managed to widen that gap in the final escape. So
yeah, Lucy was slightly ahead at door warp, but the first try managed to get you just barely in the lead. It was really exciting.
I got the double Terra jump. I was so happy.
I saw that, but I was too excited about the fact that the first one unfortunately didn't work out very well for you with the sentries, the rock turrets.
Yeah, I think I just missed the bash on the shot, and I thought I was just going to fall into the flames, but thankfully he fired again.
Yeah, unbelievable work. Well, you're coming up now. We could talk for hours about that match. We absolutely could, but I don't want to drag things out too much for everybody out there. So let's look at the future now. You just took out Lucy, who had a 3 better seed than you, 30-second PB difference, and now you're coming up in the quarterfinal match for the Naro division, the division finals. Against Hydra. How are you feeling?
Probably just as nervous. I've raced Hydra lots of times. Like we do races, and I've beaten him, he's beaten me. I think it could go either way. Hydra yesterday got a 33.20 something, so I'm going to need to pull out a really good run. This run probably won't cut it against Hydra. He's just going to eat that up.
All right. Do you have any words for your opponent?
No, I like Hydra. I just
going with the calm, no trash talking.
Yeah. Oh no, of course there'll be trash talk, but
Fant and I are American. We got to try. Can't put it past us.
It's just part of the culture.
Yeah, of course.
All right. If you had to pick one section that you think you really need to nail, maybe it's something that gave you a little bit of trouble in this run, or maybe it's something that you're worried about your consistency, or something that you're the best at and you want to be the best at it in that race. What do you think is the one segment that is going to be the most key segment for you in that match against Hydra? It's
got to be Light Grenade. Like after Light Grenade, going to Horror, because at the end of the run, I knew I was ahead, and I think the nerves just got to me, and I need to get past that if I'm going up against Hydra, because he will be on my tail the whole match if I'm ahead, or he will be ahead. And that's the place I need to practice. Not eat lasers.
Certainly a good answer after that last one. I guess I had one more question. Fant, you have any more questions for Terra?
I'm still like, my mind is boggled after that match. So
I'm glad it was a
I'm
good
having
race.
trouble.
Unbelievable. Probably the best match I've gotten to commentate so far. And my last question for you, Terra. Will you still watch the stream in your next match when you know that the nerves were getting to you this time?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to think about it. I think it only helped because Lucy took the early death. I think if it was that close the whole match, I don't think I would have done it. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see. I might just turn it off. It's a bit too much.
All right. Well, thank you once again, Terra, for an unbelievable match, and congrats on your victory and moving on to the quarterfinal round.
Yeah, can I just say congratulations to Lucy as well for putting up an awesome race?
Absolutely. I mean, it's still an unbelievable time from both of you to get that nice 34-minute time, and I still can't believe that was an what was it, a 13-second race or an 18-second race, something like that. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
18-second race, yeah. So, all right. Well, we gotta calm down because we got another match coming up later tonight.
Yes, at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we're going to be having another round of 16 match between Cheese Lover and the one and only Sigmason. But in the meantime, don't go anywhere because there's more Link to the Past randomizer tournament after this.
Yep, and we'll see you all at 9.
Going to kill it far away from this door where he actually needs to level up. And then he's going to dash to the door, the XP chasing him, he gets the energy, he opens the door, and that is...
Exactly. I think it's probably one of the most stupid threats that we have.
Oh, goodness, Monkley with the dodge. That was...
I like floating laser turret, which you can imagine what that is. But yeah, I think they didn't mean for anybody to ever see these. Did you just see what Rufus did in that key?
I have never seen that. Is that faster?
Is that faster?
And it's very rewarding as well. Oh no!
Oh, he makes it! Wow.
Oh my god, I
so close.
For the 5th energy. So it's going to put a temporary gap in between them, but it's going to... Oh my gosh.
What a nice adaptation to save it.
Races, and you watch someone who doesn't get the rocket jump up towards Sunstone, you might see them.
Whoa! He actually knocked that frog into the wall. He thought he was completely done for, but
he said, "I just don't want to die because if you don't save and you die here, it's real bad." So he's going to be taking a save.
Oh, wow. So Trojan got the shot. His shot looked extremely high, but he got it, and that's going to practically level this race right now.
Yeah, as you can see, they're now in the same cutscene, and Terra has to go up to the Spirit Well.
That's really where you're supposed to need all this wind without using the wind. He also went for a ridiculously risky trick there, where he skipped through that.
Spent like 4 minutes in door.
Oh, Meldon, can he make it back to the late? What a beautiful charge dash from Meldon to save himself. That was absolutely insane. And yes, please take that safety stand.
All he has to do here is get to the end of the game. That's his only target, whereas Cheese is on his way to Misty Woods. He's going to be going... Wow!
Oh, Rastiel, no!
Oh my god,
Rastiel, no!
I can't believe it.
Oh my god.
Think about that. So, just little things like that. Strategy getting to... Oh, goodness. Oh, the laser! Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Coming out of...
Melvin, first miss for Melvin, second miss for Ruben. Third attempt, Ruben misses on the 3rd attempt. Melvin misses it on the 2nd attempt. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Ruben, 4th attempt, misses. Melvin gets it on the 3rd attempt, and he takes the lead for the first time.
Got it!
But Ruben gets it as well. I'm losing my mind here because they're actually come down execution on the final escape.
Dropping falling trees and boulders, and the whole time Kuro, the main villain, is chasing you. and you have to escape. Wait. Oh no, he bonks unfortunately. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's time.
This is so close to time. It's a really swag strat that only saves 2 seconds and has the potential to lose you over a minute.
He's going for it again.
He's going for it again. The absolute madman.
My guy.
Here we go. Oh no! Brynhild's in the lead! Guys, okay, let's see if Brynhild goes for fish strats. If he just plays it safe, he has this in the bag. He can't lose from here. He's not doing fish strats. Brynhild's got this.